Hi, it's Madeleine again of Sister Luna's Psychic Services, and today we're going over the Temperance card. So Temperance is an angel, and the first thing that I think of when I see this card, especially sandwiched in between death and the devil, is this kind of an angel and devil on your shoulders type of situation. Temperance is here telling you, hey man, maybe don't have another drink. Go home early, take your vitamins, it's like, whereas the devil on your shoulder is like, yeah, stay out, drink some more, it'll be fine, treat yourself. So that can be quite literal. An old-fashioned sort of interpretation of the Temperance card is don't drink, don't do drugs, don't, do anything naughty. The angel is just there being like, hey man, we're watching. But I think modern interpretations of the card are a little bit different, at least that, usually I interpret it differently. One of the main pieces of symbolism on the card that I find to be significant is the fact that she's got 1 foot on the land and 1 foot in the water. So that's a very clear illustration of having part of yourself be creative and be intuitive and be sort of in the ethereal side of things, and the other side of you still always keeping 1 foot on solid ground, literally, and being practical and making good choices for your life as it truly is, rather than getting just lost in daydreams. And seeking that kind of balance is important. It helps us to lead healthy lives. It helps us to not get too upset if something doesn't go the way that we intended it to. Because if you live in daydreams all the time and then your daydreams don't manifest, then you might feel quite a bit of despair if that's the only part of the world that you're really existing in. But if you keep 1 foot on the ground, then if something doesn't go according to plan, something that you imagine doesn't work out, then, you've still got something to fall back on because you've been practical and you've prepared for that eventuality. It's interesting too, there's a lot of different symbols of balance in this card. You can see on her chest, or his chest maybe, there's a fire symbol, and there's so much water in the card itself. So I find that really interesting. It's like there's a fire within you. Don't extinguish it completely, but also don't let it get out of control. Losing control of your passion and your desires and your indulgences is what we're going to cover in the Devil card. So these two cards are definitely really related to each other. If we're learning the tarot, it's almost impossible to discuss one without discussing the other. They're like twins, kind of. One evil twin and one good twin. Okay. So yeah, when reading this card for a querent, when it comes up, you can maybe start probing them on what their lifestyle is like. You are pretty likely to discover that they have some kind of an issue with an indulgence of some form. Could be anything, could be eating, could be, drinking, could be playing video games or internet addiction, anything like that. And then you're just there to, first of all, have on hand the right numbers, like the right crisis numbers. That's a really important part of being a good reader. For it, not specific to this card, just always be prepared to give the right resources to your querents, because we're not, maybe you are, but I'm certainly not an addictions counselor or any other sort of counselor. I'm not licensed to do any of that, so I definitely want to be able to pass that information on to my querents, so that they can get the help that they need. All kinds. Spiritual help, spiritual guidance from myself, but also the other types of help that they might require. Also, a point on this card is making sure that you have a good balance between work and fun, or like as well as between health and indulgence. So if you are just constantly grinding it out and working hard and never taking any time to relax, then you don't have one foot in the water. You've got both feet on the ground. You know, that's too much. So give yourself a bit of a break. And I think it's interesting that this card meant not drinking, but that the angel herself is pouring, or their self is pouring water from one cup into another cup endlessly, kind of, right? That's interesting to me. I often wonder if there's any parts of the imagery in cards that just got missed when people were first interpreting them, like the artist put it in there and no one got it. Because there's some cards where there's some interesting bits of symbolism that I can never find definitions for. So it's one of my favorite parts of exploring the deck, especially an old deck like this one. So perhaps the water being poured from one cup into the other there is to show us that our creativity is boundless. It's never ending. Or as well, our compassion. I mean, on the card, we have an angel, right? So that can be specifically showing compassion to another person in your life who maybe does have an issue with overindulgence of some kind. It can be difficult when someone close to you is struggling with an addiction, really challenging to support them in the best way, right, for that. But compassion is always a really good first step. So if you pull Temperance for your querent, and if they seem freaked out when you start telling them about making sure they're not overindulging, just let them know at least you didn't get the devil. That would have been much worse. Thank you guys for listening. It means a lot to me. Yeah. Your path, if you stay balanced, friends, your path is leading you to this beautiful sun coming up over the mountain there. So stay balanced, love yourself, take your vitamins. And until next time, we'll be talking about Temperance's evil twin, the devil. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Blessed be.